Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive on something super important for businesses in South Carolina.
Yeah, it's about registered agents.
Okay, so like right off the bat, that doesn't sound like the most exciting topic.
Well, you'd think that, right? But you know what? It's way more crucial than most people realize, especially here in South Carolina.
I mean, I get it. Legal stuff, paperwork.
Hmm.
It's not exactly like the fun part of running a business.
Right. But think of it this way. You wouldn't build a house without a solid foundation.
True.
And having a registered agent and understanding how it all works, that's part of that strong foundation for your business.
Okay, I like that. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, can we just like level set, what exactly is a registered agent? Why do we even need one in South Carolina?
All right, so imagine you're, super busy running your business,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, bam, you get hit with a lawsuit.
Yeah, no one wants that.
Right. Or maybe it's something less dramatic. Maybe it's an important notice from the state about your business license or something.
Okay, so where does the registered agent come in?
Well, they're like your company's designated catcher. They're there to catch all those curveballs, all that important legal and official mail.
Okay, so they're the ones who make sure all those documents, like notices and legal stuff, don't get lost in the shuffle.
Precisely. They're like that official point of contact for your business. And it's not just some nice to have. In South Carolina, it's actually the law.
Really? It's required.
Yep. You can find it in Title 33, Chapter 5 of the South Carolina Code of Laws. And it makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, like if there's a time-sensitive legal matter, you can't afford to miss a deadline just because a notice got lost in the mail or something.
Exactly. Things like lawsuit notifications, state filings, even tax documents, they all have to go through your registered agent.
Okay, starting to see the importance here, but let's be honest. Sometimes, even with the best intentions, we mess up the simplest things. What are some of those absolute non-negotiable must-dos when it comes to registered agents? Things that every business owner in South Carolina should have, like, top of mind.
All right, so think of it as like a two-pronged approach to staying on top of things.
All right, lay it on me. What's the first prong?
Your registered agent's contact info, it's got to be treated like gold. Like it's your own lifeline. Address, phone number, email, any changes, you have to tell them immediately.
Gotcha. Because legally, they're representing your business, so they need to be able to, actually reach you.
Right. And the second prong,
What's it?
don't forget to pay your registered agent. They're providing a really important service. It's a business expense, just like anything else.
Makes sense. So what happens if, let's say a business owner kind of drops the ball on those responsibilities? What are the consequences of not keeping your end of the bargain with your registered agent?
Okay, so let's say you miss a payment or your contact info is outdated. What could happen?
Probably nothing good.
Well, let's say there's a crucial legal notice, maybe a lawsuit notification, right? And it gets sent to the wrong address.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Or maybe your registered agent is trying to get a hold of you, but they can't because the phone number is not working or the email's bouncing back.
So you basically end up missing a court date or a deadline without even realizing it.
And guess what? You could get hit with a default judgment against you, all because you were out of touch with your registered agent.
Ouch. Okay, so it's definitely not something to mess around with. Are there any other potential consequences we should know about?
Definitely. Imagine this. You've been kind of MIA on your registered agent responsibilities, and the state starts to think, hey, does this business even exist anymore?
I'm guessing that's not a good thing.
Nope. That's what's called administrative dissolution. Essentially, your business loses its legal standing.
So what does that mean in practical terms? Like, what are the real-world implications of that?
Well, for one, any existing contracts you have, gone. Poof. Operations have to stop. If you want to get back on track, it's a huge uphill battle.
That sounds like a nightmare for any business owner.
It is. And on top of all that, there's the financial hit. You could be looking at hefty fines, reinstatement fees, and a whole bunch of unexpected expenses.
Yeah, definitely sounds like something you'd want to avoid at all costs.
And the crazy thing is all those headaches could have been avoided just by staying on top of your registered agent responsibilities.
So it's not just about legal compliance. It's about protecting your business from unnecessary risk.
You got it.
Now, speaking of real-world examples, we actually came across this document. It's called a default notice.
Yeah, tell me about it.
It was issued by eVision Business Center, which is a registered agent right here in South Carolina. And it's basically a public call out to businesses that haven't paid their registered agent fees.
Oh, wow. Naming and shaming.
Pretty much. And it really just highlights how common these oversights are. The notice lists a bunch of different businesses. Some were incorporated just back in 2021. Others go back to like 2015. There's one called Southern Portrait Construction LLC. I think they were incorporated around then.
Wow. So it doesn't matter how long you've been in business, this can happen to anyone.
Exactly. And the notice doesn't sugarcoat things either. It lays out all the potential consequences, from missing those legal notices to the risk of administrative dissolution.
And of course, more legal fees on top of everything else.
Yeah, it's like a snowball effect. So I guess the big question now is, how do you avoid ending up on a list like that?
Right. No one wants their business's dirty laundry aired like that. Well, luckily, the source material we've been looking at has some pretty straightforward advice on how to stay on the right side of the law here in South Carolina.
All right, so let's break it down. What's the first piece of advice?
Keep your registered agent in the loop. Any change in your contact information, tell them right away.
Treat it like changing your address with the post office. It's that important.
Exactly. And don't forget about that second prong we talked about, paying your registered agent on time. Think of it like any other essential bill. Just make the payment and avoid a ton of potential stress down the line.
Okay, so regular updates, timely payments, that's 2 down. Any other tips for our listeners?
Knowledge is power, right? So stay informed. Keep tabs on your business's compliance status.
So like any changes in the law, things like that.
Yep. And any updates from your registered agent. A little proactive research can go a long way in preventing problems.
It's starting to sound a lot less like a boring legal topic and more like a roadmap to keeping my business out of trouble.
That's exactly what it is. Being proactive about your registered agent responsibilities is one of the best things you can do for your business.
Okay, so just to recap, regular updates, timely payments, stay informed. It sounds pretty manageable.
It really is. And the peace of mind it gives you, that's priceless.
Well said. It's not just about ticking boxes. It's about protecting your business and giving yourself the freedom to actually focus on running it.
Exactly.
So far, we've covered why registered agents are so crucial here in South Carolina, the potential consequences of neglecting those responsibilities, and some really practical tips for staying on the right track. But you know what? We're just getting started.
There's a lot more ground to cover. We've got some real-world examples that I think are going to surprise you.
Definitely stay tuned for those.
Yeah, coming up next, it's like, building a house, you wouldn't just skip reinforcing the foundation, right?
Absolutely not.
Well, staying on top of your registered agent responsibilities, it's kind of like that. It's about making sure the legal foundation of your business is strong.
I like that analogy. Okay, so remember that default notice we were talking about earlier? The one from eVision Business Center?
Oh, yeah. The registered agent that's closing up shop.
Right. They're actually ceasing operations pretty soon, December 25th, 2024.
Oh, wow. So that's coming up quick.
Yeah, it got me thinking. What happens to all those businesses that have eVision as their registered agent?
That's a good question. I mean, the notice actually addresses that a little bit.
It does.
Yeah, it says that basically every business that's currently using eVision, they have to find a new registered agent by that deadline. And they have to settle any outstanding balances too.
So it's like a mad dash to get everything sorted out before the clock runs out.
Pretty much. Imagine the chaos if they don't.
So it's like even if you've been doing everything right on your end, things can still go sideways if your registered agent drops the ball, or in this case, goes out of business completely.
Exactly. It really highlights how important it is to choose your registered agent carefully.
You mean like do your research and pick someone reliable?
Exactly. Think of it like choosing any other key business partner. You're entrusting them with something really important, your company's legal standing.
So let's say I'm a business owner in South Carolina, and I need to find a new registered agent, like ASA. What should I be looking for?
Okay, so first and foremost, experience. You want someone who really knows their stuff when it comes to South Carolina's laws and regulations.
Right, because what works in one state might not fly in another.
Exactly. Next up, reliability. Look for a registered agent that's known for being responsive, organized, and proactive about keeping you informed.
Yeah, I can only imagine the stress of wondering if those important documents are actually getting where they need to go.
And in this day and age, having a registered agent with a good online platform is a big plus.
What do you mean?
Like somewhere you can access all your documents, manage your account, get real-time updates, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So it's about streamlining all that compliance stuff and making your life a little bit easier.
Yep.
So just to recap, we're looking for experience, reliability, clear communication, and ideally, a user-friendly online platform.
It's like putting together an all-star team for your business's legal needs.
I like that. It's not just about checking a box, it's about finding a registered agent who's a real partner in your business's success.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So today we've uncovered a lot about the role of registered agents in South Carolina, the potential pitfalls of neglecting those responsibilities, and even how to find the right registered agent for your specific needs.
And we looked at some real-world examples like that situation with eVision, which really shows how important it is to stay informed and be proactive.
Absolutely. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about.
Ooh, I like where this is going. Hit me with it.
Okay, so remember how that default notice mentioned that eVision is going out of business? Well, it got me wondering what happens to all those important legal documents and records that they've been holding for their clients.
That's a really good question. It's like, what happens if you've entrusted all your valuable stuff to a storage unit and suddenly the company managing that unit just disappears?
Yeah, it makes you think about all those businesses that are scrambling to find new registered agents right now. What happens to their records? Do they get transferred somewhere else? How do they even retrieve a document from a registered agent that no longer exists?
Yeah, it could turn into a logistical nightmare pretty quickly.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the importance of transparency, right? Like when a registered agent goes out of business, there needs to be a solid plan in place for the agent, but also for all the businesses they've been representing. Got to make sure those records are handled properly. That's almost like, breaking up with a business partner. You need a clear exit strategy so things don't get messy.
Exactly. And for business owners, it means you got to do your homework. Don't just check the registered agent box and call it a day. Really dig deeper.
Like what kind of questions should we be asking?
Well, ask about their record-keeping practices. How secure is their data? What happens to your documents if they go out of business?
So it's like an extra layer of due diligence. But it sounds like it could save you a lot of trouble down the road.
Absolutely. Being proactive is key.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. We demystified the world of registered agents, talked about what can go wrong if you don't take those responsibilities seriously, and even learned how to find the right registered agent for your business.
Yeah, and we looked at some real-world examples, like that whole eVision situation. It's a good reminder that staying informed is so important.
It's funny. We started off by saying that registered agents don't sound like the most exciting topic,
True.
but it turns out they're way more important than we might have thought.
It's one of those things that you don't really think about until something goes wrong.
Exactly. So for our listeners who want to learn more, we've included links to all the source material and some additional resources in the show notes.
Be sure to check those out. And remember, staying informed is a journey, not a destination.
Well said. And until next time, keep on diving, folks.